again.
This is LiveSpeak. We're bringing you tech news, Kickstarter investment strategies, and anything else we feel like we need to discuss with you. Stick around. It's going to be a great show.
On LiveSpeak Radio.
Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio.com, and on our website at LiveSpeakRadio.com. I have a special guest with me this evening. Justin Gilson is with me. He's going to help me out with a bit of hosting this evening. Justin, how are things?
Oh, fantastic. I just get to sit back and let you do your thing.
No, you're going to work for a living tonight, mate.
Okay.
I'm not the only one that's going to be doing anything this side. I may have control of the console, but you're going to work for your money.
Okay.
So,
all right, I can do that.
Nothing strange or exciting happening this week. You were saying you were having a problem with your gas tank.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's propane, so they do get very cold for one, and they have a tendency to freeze up. But mine didn't freeze; it was leaking at some point, and I couldn't figure it out. And a little trick that my dad told me to do was, and this was last night when it was I don't know, 6 o'clock or something my time, and I went out and put soap, like hand soap, on all the fittings and things like that, just to see if any air was leaking out. And I found a little tiny leak, because it just makes little bubbles, which is fantastic. And so it was just a tiny little crack, and I kind of brushed away the soap, and then I couldn't see any more bubbles. It wasn't making any more bubbles. And at that point, it was so cold out, my nose was frozen, and all I could smell was soap. I couldn't smell any propane anymore. So I called it good for the night and hooked up. I had a tank. I think it's like an 8-gallon tank or something. Hooked it up for the night just so I could work on it during the day. And I woke up this morning and apparently I ran out of propane. And my heater in here doesn't stop. It just keeps blowing cold air.
Oh.
So all night long, I don't know when exactly it turned off, but sometime in the middle of the night, and it was blowing cold air. So basically, I had my air conditioner on, and it was 20 degrees this morning when I woke up.
Wow. So
and it must have been
inside than it was outside, was it?
It might have been like 30 degrees inside. It was pretty cold. Luckily, up by my bedroom, I have an electric heater that goes to keep the floor kind of warm, and so my bedroom in that area was kind of warm. But as soon as I took the covers off, I was like, God, it's kind of cold in here. And as I stood up, I started walking towards the living room, and I'm like, yeah, it's freezing cold in here. And I have a thermometer, a digital thermometer in the living room, and it didn't even register. It was just like, too cold. So, and all I'm thinking, and I looked over, and there's a red light that shows the hot water heater, meaning it's not getting any gas. And I went, son of a. So I got all bundled up and went outside, and I luckily had another small tank, a very small tank full, probably a 5-gallon tank. And hooked that up, and then went back into the trailer, turned the heat on, and then went and got in the shower. And by the time I got out of the shower, the heat was on, and it was warmed up in here. But yeah, what a way to start my morning. I mean, I woke up ready just to go to work, and I was like, I actually woke up a little late to begin with. I woke up at 7, and then I woke up at 7:30 after that, and realized I had a problem.
Yeah, you were speaking to me quite early this morning, actually. Well, this morning.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're you're usually the only one up that I talk to, because it's completely different time zone. So yeah, it's nice to talk to somebody. Oh, I wouldn't really put it that way. No, it is nice though to be able to get up and talk with somebody if something's going on though. It is pretty cool. But I'm one of those people that when I get up in the morning, I don't like to have a conversation like in person. I can write a message to you or something, but if people are talking and it's loud, I can't stand it. I'm like, just be quiet. Let me wake up. Just stop bugging me.
Yeah.
But that's my Wednesday.
It sounded like one of those mornings, all right. And what about the other tank? Did it didn't leak out or anything, no?
No, not that I know of. I have a big 100-pound tank, they call it. It's 24 gallons, which the reason why I checked it last night is because that one went empty. And it's like I just got it filled a week and like 3 days ago. So like 10 days ago, I got this 24-gallon thing filled, and supposedly it was empty again. And I'm like, there's no way unless I have a leak.
Yeah.
Turns out I had the regulator. It's a dual regulator, so two hoses can hook into it. And the guy at the RV parks or the RV place said that the diaphragm inside those actually break, and it's been on. I don't know when it was replaced. This thing's a 1996 trailer, so I have no idea. Um, yeah, so that broke. I got a new one for like $50 and put it on there this afternoon, and so far it's been fine. But we'll find out tomorrow morning when I get up and see if I have no heat again.
You'll have to light a fire.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, look, we'll move on to some tech news, and
It's time for the
and we were talking about, just before we came on the air, we were talking about Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
Not that Cyber Monday would be much use to you there in terms of your gas tank, but there's some pretty interesting statistics coming back about kind of figures for online sales and things.
Yeah, it's everybody talks about Black Friday, and it was pretty big this year, but then you go right around the weekend to Cyber Monday, and this year especially has been huge. For those that don't know, Cyber Monday is the biggest online shopping day of the year, and it's online. That's why it's Cyber Monday. And they said this year, the retail experts said the sales would be about 15% more than they were in 2012, and then that the online ads actually helped drive the $2 billion in sales that will take place, or that was supposed to take place on Monday.
Wow.
Yeah, $2 billion is what that's what somebody at Adobe was actually figuring that they would make. And they said that millions of Americans logged on to e-commerce sites Monday to take advantage of deals ranging from free shipping to hundreds of dollars off electronics and half-price clothing on what was expected to be the busiest internet shopping day of the year. And many of those purchases were made using mobile devices. Of course, early results indicated online shopping was up 17.5% compared with the same time last year, according to figures by IBM. And mobile devices accounted for more than 29% of all online traffic. This person, Brandon Harris, is 27 years old from Memphis, Tennessee. He started shopping at midnight Sunday, and by Monday had spent around $300 and completed half of his Christmas shopping, including a Barbie doll for his niece and a TV for his mother. He says, I haven't shopped for a Christmas present in a store in 3 years. It's a lot more convenient to be at home and shop. So a lot of people are looking. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are looking things up on their cell phones and then actually buying them with their tablets.
Right, yeah. I think that was kind of a trend that was happening as well on Black Friday, because that was mentioned too about that they were browsing products on their mobile devices, but actually buying on their either PCs or their tablets.
Yeah.
But, that must have been a very cheap TV he bought if he was able to buy half the Christmas presents.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. What kind of TV did you get? I mean, there have been amazing deals out there and whatnot, but I have some really random statistics. There's an infographic that's floating around the internet about Cyber Monday being, of course, going mobile. And I'll just read a little bit of it. It says, since its creation in 2005, Cyber Monday has grown to become the single biggest online shopping day of the year. Of course, you talked about the $2 billion. They got to 1.7 billion. They didn't hit 2 billion, but that's still, come on, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Wow.
It started in 2000. Go ahead.
Considering there's supposed to be no money around and we're in the middle of a recession.
That's what I've never figured that out. Every year they say it's a recession, and then Christmas comes around and they're like, we spent $1 billion. I'm like, well, where'd that come from?
Yeah. You see, it's a recession for the poor people. That's probably what it is.
That's so true. That's so funny. Now they talked about the growth of the 2013 projection, and it started in 2005, making $484 million. Then last year was about 1.4 billion, and then this year, of course, about 2 billion. So it's gone up from 400 million to over $1 billion, almost $2 billion. Wow! It's the biggest shopping day ever. The two biggest shopping categories actually on Cyber Monday were toys and hobbies. I would have thought it had been more of like electronics, but
yeah. But it's funny, I kind of didn't pass much heed of either Black Friday or Cyber Monday until this year, really. I knew it was going on, but I kind of paid more attention to it this year, and most people know that I actually bought stuff on Black Friday. But I it used to be more kind of a US side thing, but it seems that it's actually come across the water to this, to Europe as well, because I was getting emails from Amazon.co.uk, which is obviously a UK site, saying that for Cyber Monday these deals were there, and for Black Friday these deals were there. So it's obvious that everybody's getting in on the because they know there's money to be made. I suppose it's a smart move with anybody.
Oh yeah.
But and actually, one of my deliveries arrived today. The first of them, my 4-point monitor mount arrived today, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh man.
So I'm just waiting for my 2 screens to come now, and I'm not putting up the photograph until I have it all up and ready.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So
I'd be the first person I'd send it to would be Alan.
well, see, there's no point in putting up half done. I'm going to wait until it's done because, yeah, I know what he's going to say because he said it to me in the chat as well. He just goes, "Geez, man, you're killing me."
Yeah.
But speaking about delivery, there's a story in the news today. Well, it was a story in the news on, I think it was Cyber Monday as well, that Amazon announced that it was going to have automated drones to start delivering products to people.
Right.
And it's called Amazon's Prime Air. But UPS came out today as well that said that they're researching delivery drones too.
Of course they did.
So it's kind of funny, but we talked about this a couple of months back, and we kind of, I'm not saying we laughed it off, but we thought, yeah, it's probably going to happen, but it's not going to happen for years in the future yet. Do you remember we talked about a case in China where they were piloting these schemes, if you'll excuse the pun?
Yeah.
But it seems Amazon now has taken that ball and ran with it, and so has UPS. Now, some people were saying that it was a gimmick. It was a thing that they were saying. It's funny how they announced it on Cyber Monday, and that it would have driven a lot of traffic to the Amazon website. But, can you really see this happening?
No, my perspective on it is I don't think this will ever happen because, one, I know they said it'll the Amazon one. I'm speaking not of UPS, but of Amazon. They said the would carry up to 5 pounds, and they said that accounts for about 82% of everything purchased on Amazon.com, which, okay, that's a big percentage, but you're still leaving out 20% that you can't deliver. And, secondly is the problem of, they're unmanned. So they're going to drop off a package outside my door. If I'm not there, they're just going to leave it on the sidewalk and take off for somebody to get. Or somebody's going to shoot them down. You get like 15 drones flying around. I'm just going to sit and shoot them down and then collect all the stuff.
That was my next suggestion.
Yeah. So, that's why I don't think this is going to happen. And I honestly am, in my gut, this tells me that it's all publicity because Amazon did it and now all UPS, even I heard FedEx was looking into doing this too. And I don't think so. I just don't. There's so many, the serviceable areas. Jason was talking about it today actually, and how they were talking about how these drones would go, 10 miles or something from their places, but that still leaves so many places unreachable by these things.
Of course, yeah. It means that you have to have Amazon depots within 20 miles of everyone's house, like.
Yeah.
They can't be further than 20 miles apart.
Mm-mm.
In order to service everywhere, and to say that everything, you'll have your delivery within 30 minutes. Logistically, I can't see it happening. There's too many holes in it for it to work. It's
I don't. I think maybe like UPS saying they have different ways that they might use these drones, and one of them was to help them move packages around its own warehouses.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that. And if you need to put something up on a top shelf, just fly it up to the top. Cool. Or just if you could automate these things, maybe they could just pack the whole warehouse for you. I don't know.
Yeah. I can see them being useful for, say, going between Amazon's depot and going to, say, the local post office or the local parcel package company. They'd probably work for that, but I can't see them working for, where there's somebody there to accept an end product. As you said, if you're not at home when your package comes. Now, technically, if it's only going to take 30 minutes to deliver your package, chances are you're probably going to be standing outside the door with your arms open just in case. But
it's
not always going to be the case. People are going to order from work. They're not going to be home when the package arrives. If you're in a residential area and you're after ordering an expensive, say you're after ordering a tablet or something, do you really think that it's going to be on your doorstep when you get home?
No, not a chance.
And we discussed a case of this recently where Amazon dropped products on a guy's front doorstep, and he just happened to have a camera on his door, and he spotted his next door neighbour coming out and taking all his products, because they're packed in Amazon boxes, so everybody knows it's, you know, everybody knows that the stuff is worth money, so they're going to steal it, you know.
Yeah.
So
Oh, absolutely.
and there's no legislation for human nature, you know. People are going to,
No.
temptation will always be there, and they'll always take it, you know.
Yeah, and there's the, you get down into the other parts of it where these are how are they being controlled? If they're going through some kind of wireless system or like maybe cellular network or something like that, then that means they're open to risk. I mean, there's security there, so somebody could hack into a drone and have stuff delivered to me instead of you.
Of course, yeah,
You
redirection.
know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure it probably wouldn't take them long to hack into that signal. If they can redirect the
No.
entire internet through Iceland and Norway without it being detected, they can certainly reroute a simple drone.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that actually came out over the last few days was the worrying decline in the sales in PCs.
Yep.
The International Data Corporation sales forecast, they reckon it's 15% down in consumer markets.
I don't
Sales
doubt it.
overall. Even though there were good sales on Monday for it, but it's still a flagging area. They're saying that they lowered its previous estimates on Monday, suggesting that the total computer sales in 2013 would decline by 10.1%, dropping down to sales levels that were last seen in 2008. And some of the sales slumps over the last 5 years can be attributed to economic uncertainties around the world, but the bigger and long-term reason is less need to replace a PC, according to IDC.
Mm.
Now, the one thing that I know most professionals, the likes of myself, will always use a PC because it's just not practical to use a tablet for what I'm doing, or a laptop.
Right.
It's just too frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my screens. So when they
Right.
invent a laptop or a tablet, even though there is a phone out with multiple screens, but that's a topic for later on. But the only saving grace, I think, for this year, or maybe actually for early next year, is the end in support for Windows XP, because they think that'll drive PC sales, where people are going to be forced to upgrade from their old Windows XP to newer machines.
I don't know. I just don't know. There's so much turmoil out there about Windows 8. People know that it's terrible.
Yeah. Well, that is the other side of it too.
I think that's what's scaring them.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. So I think the quicker they move on to Windows 9 and drop Windows 8, the better. But they're saying that a lot of people are still using PCs, but that just nobody is buying them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to replace them every 3 months or something. Yeah, of course you won't be upgrading that often.
Exactly, yeah. And I know they're not around long enough yet, but tablets, I don't know, do they have the lifespan of a PC?
Yeah, see, I don't know that yet. I don't know. Kind of depends on how you treat it, I guess, and what brand it is and whatnot. I mean, they're suggesting that the overall computing usage has changed in the past few years, and I totally understand that with mobile phones and tablets and stuff. But, PCs will never be gone, I don't think.
I think they'll probably get to a certain usage level, and they'll probably just level off at that, because it's obvious that, while there are tablets being incorporated into the workplace as it is, people will still always need to use a PC, in my opinion anyway, because you have your documents and you have whatever programs you need to run on your PC from work. That's where I suppose that's where most of the market is going to be from now on. And then for the casual, say, everyday user, like you're surfing the internet or you're listening to music or whatever, you're obviously not going to be doing that on your PC. You're going to be doing that either on your phone or on your tablet. But
yeah,
I think it's been tapering off for years. It's been it's been declining. Sales have been declining for years. But I think they will reach a point where they'll just level off.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And they are pinning their hopes on the end of support for Windows XP. That is one of the big things that they're saying. From April next year, they can see certainly a lot of corporate sales, anyways, for PCs. So
that's where it's going to be. That's where it's going to be the most, I think, is because big networks and corporations and stuff actually have Windows XP still because it's one of the best that works in a
Mm-hmm.
network.
Mm-hmm.
Windows 7 is decent, um, and that's what a lot of people use, but XP is still out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if I guess if they're going to make them, you can't take somebody in a corporation though, especially me being an IT guy. If Microsoft came up to me and I have a whole network of XP machines and they say, "Hey, you have to upgrade to Windows 8," I'd say, "I guess I'll get Apple." Because I would not put a whole network of computers with Windows 8. We have that at my job now,
Mm-hmm.
and they work okay, but the transition was ugly as it is with everything, and it's continual because
Yeah.
you keep finding random little things that Windows 8 has that people can't use.
Yeah. And it's a learning curve as well because you're gone from the old interface that we've talked about
Hmm.
exhaustively at this point to a new
Yeah.
interface, to the new Metro interface, which just people can't get their heads around. I've noticed a couple of the PCs that I've worked with, anybody that I asked, they said that they didn't like it. I've yet
Yeah.
to meet anybody who said that they like Windows 8.
I've met one person,
Really?
and yeah, and they're not like an avid computer user. They just have a touchscreen laptop, and they said, "Yeah, I kind of like it." So it wasn't an avid like, yes, I want there. I haven't met one of those yet. Somebody
Right.
that would say, "I'll take Windows 8 over anything." The day I meet somebody like that, I'd be shocked.
The day you meet somebody like that, you'll probably find that they're a Microsoft employee.
More than likely, yeah.
And even then, that's pushing it. They probably don't even like
Yeah.
it themselves.
Say
But
half them have iPhones.
you see, the other thing as well, what they're saying is that, the sales in PCs probably will increase in April of next year. But you have the other option too. Even though Windows XP has been discontinued, you can pay for upgrades.
Hmm.
They're only going to be releasing security updates and support for commercial customers. So they haven't actually given an end date for that yet that I'm aware of. So, it might actually be a better and more realistic and a cheaper option to maybe pay for updates rather than paying for completely upgrading the system.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the other argument. But actually,
Mhm.
here's something that I noticed today, and it was only after I read the article that I went looking for it. Um, Facebook are adding an unfollow button to posts. Have you seen this?
I've heard about that. I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's funny, but when I saw the article, I actually went on Facebook and had a look at it, and it was there. Now, I do notice about from time to time with Facebook is they do tend to put things live for a short space of time while they're testing it,
They
and
do. Yep.
I've caught a few of them now at this stage. And it was there when I read the article, I went, oh, I must go and look at that, and checked it up, and there it was. It was live, but about 15 minutes later, when I checked it, it was gone again.
Yeah,
So they're
that's happened with me. Yep, many times.
saying in a win for spiteful Facebook users everywhere, the company will soon unveil an unfollow button. This means that if you're tired of your aunts sharing endless baby photos and political rants, you'll be able to block all of her posts in your newsfeed with a click of a button. That's definitely something useful. It says not that you couldn't do that before. In the past, the hide all option pretty much did the same thing, keeping all updates from a user hidden, a discreet way to make someone disappear from your virtual life without the awkwardness of unfriending them. The goal is to help people curate their newsfeed and see more of the content that they care about. Do you think maybe
Hmm.
this has anything to do with maybe the new news feature that's coming in?
Maybe. And I mean, even that statement there about see more of the content they care about, that's crap because Facebook tells me what I care about.
Of course they do.
They show me what they think I need to see. Like I never see updates from my own mother ever. Yet she's on my favorites list. She's in my family list. Of all people, my family should be who I see on my newsfeed, and I don't. I
Yeah.
I don't see. I see a lot of businesses, lots of
Mm.
businesses.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, all right, that they basically decide what you see.
Hmm.
Um, and they've changed their algorithm as well recently to they're trying to incorporate more. They're trying to go like Twitter, basically. That Twitter is really really tied in with local news stations and what's happening at the minute. They're really
Yeah,
you'll see Twitter feeds quoted on CNN or whatever TV
yeah, they're
station you
instant.
watch. Yeah,
Hmm.
and Facebook is they're lagging behind on that. And I think that's another thing that they're trying to get into, and they really are pushing out the news updates. They're saying they changed the algorithm um, to allow more newsy content to show up. And what they're actually going to be doing now as well is they're going to be doing recommended stories. That, you know, if you click on a story to read it, what they're going to do, like they do with some of the posts now, they say, well, if you like such a page, you may like this page too. And
of course.
They're going to roll that out with the news feed as well. But what also came to light in the article that I was reading was it said that they're going to regenerate old articles as well to try and kind of fire up the conversation again. So even though something you may have commented on maybe 3 weeks ago and is no longer in the news, they were going to throw it back into your news feed again to try and bring it up again, if you know what I mean.
Wow, they're kind of recycling old stories.
Yeah, yeah, trying to stir up the debate again, I suppose. Yeah, it's... Look at Facebook. I think in terms of that sort of thing, Facebook are definitely behind the curve. Twitter kind of have that side of things pretty much sewn up. Because as I said, all the news stations quote Twitter on a regular basis. You look at any of the news stations and they have Twitter feeds or Twitter quotes. You know how you can embed a Twitter post or a tweet into the news feed as well. So they've been doing that for a long time. But definitely Facebook is really pushing to get this bit done, you know? Yeah,
and now to be clear, you're not really, when you're unfollowing somebody, you're not unfriending them.
No.
It's just to stop their alerts from showing up on your news feed. Basically, to unfriend someone, you still have to go to their page and unfriend them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know you could hide particular stories from individuals, the likes of, say, their game feed and stuff like that, where you're persecuted with somebody looking for something from Farmville or something like that. That's something you could do for a long time, but to actually unfollow, you can unfollow a particular post at this point, though, as well, I think, can't you?
Yeah, at this point you can. Yeah, if you want to, you can go up and I think it's unfollow post, or actually I looked at it earlier and it showed me stop notifications is what the option was.
Yeah.
So yeah, now you can, stop notifications. You can do that before, but of course, like you said, they changed the name of it. And that's how you said they do that with other things too. I've been on here where the whole header and the navigation swaps sides while I'm on Facebook, and then, like you said, before you are done, it swaps back, and then they're like, not many people, when you're a developer, not many people will work on a live site like that. It's very risky.
Well, it seems they'll put the site live for a very short space of time. You know, it might only be for 5 or 10 minutes. As I said, I've seen those types of changes before, and they've actually made huge changes to what we call business pages, I suppose, but they could be known as fan pages as well. Whereas before, they didn't want you posting photographs. But in the last couple of weeks, they've changed the algorithm again to make photographs more prominent.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't understand the way they're trying to operate things, but they don't ever give an explanation for stuff. But
no,
there was a stage where a text or a written post got the most coverage, shall we say, and that if you put up a photograph, the way that Facebook looked, and this is my reading of it, is they thought that businesses were using these photographs to advertise, which they were in a lot of cases. So they come up with the 20% rule that you couldn't have more than 20% text in an image.
Yeah, remember that.
So that was something that they come up with to try and limit the amount of advertising that was going on by viral images.
Yeah, because if you're not using Facebook advertising, they don't want you using it on their site.
Yeah. But as part of this news thing that's coming out now, again, they're going to push the photos back down again. And they're saying it's going to damage, say, Facebook pages that have memes and things like that base their entire popularity on the fact that they can share funny pictures. So people
that's a good point.
You know, that's a bit of a strange one. But anyways, I'm going to play a little bit of music now just to take a break for a couple of minutes. I'm going to play Tabby. Welcome back, everybody, to LiveSpeak. This is Diet LiveSpeak, the midweek show, and we're broadcasting on iHeartRadio.com. We're also broadcasting through our website at LiveSpeakRadio.com and via Spreaker.com. With me this evening, or this afternoon, or whatever time of the day you're listening at, is my co-host, Justin Gilson. And, we just had to throw in a little bit of round of applause there as well. But we might as well continue on with some of the tech news. And one of the stories that kind of caught my eye today when I was looking through was Honda, they're revamping its link-connected car system to make it very iPhone-friendly. Yeah, they're using a lot of the voice activation software in the Apple's. Says that we're one of the first automakers to sign on to Apple's Siri Eyes Free program for in-vehicle voice commands. But the new version of its connected in-vehicle system is getting even cozier with the smartphone maker. The new version of Honda Link will be available in 2014 Honda Civic, which goes on sale, I guess, today. And it brings an iPhone feel to the dash. The 7-inch screen can be navigated through familiar smartphone gestures such as swipes and pinches, but it also further integrates eyes-free into its user interface, allowing drivers to launch apps and access iPhone features through spoken commands to Siri and physical buttons on the steering wheel. I don't know about the reliability of Siri.
No, and you know what? As you're talking about this, I'm just picturing people like driving and accessing Candy Crush and.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's saying that they're making this, more hands-free, but they're also making it a little more dangerous because you're going to be able to run 10, 15 different things. Now, I remember when the first MP3 player CD or the car stereos came out, and then the DVD players came out. And part of the stipulation with the DVD players was that while the DVD was playing, it had to be in park, or it had to be stopped. Your car has to be stopped. Yeah. And people would override that and get their way around it, so it would play while they're driving. But that's what's happening. I mean, you put all this stuff in there. You got buttons all over your steering wheel. You got 7-inch screen. How could you not be distracted while you're driving?
That's exactly my point. It's
Yeah.
bad enough. It's bad enough being distracted by the actual physical phone itself. I actually, when I was dropping my wife off at work today, the road that I come back to get down home comes down on a motorway. But to get onto it, you obviously have to come on down the on-ramp. And I don't know how it works in the US, but the traffic on the on-ramp, when you're merging with the traffic on the main road, the traffic on the main road has to pull into the other lane to allow you to filter in.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a fella in front of me in a van, and I was behind him, and he was coming down to the end of the feeder lane to go into the main lane. And this guy in another car just didn't even bother to move out of his way. There was nearly an accident caused. And he wasn't going the quickest either. So when I got out onto the main road, I went into the overtaking lane and I happened to pass the guy. And when I looked over, there he was with a bloody mobile phone glued to his ear.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's distracting enough. And I know myself, if I'm in the car and something beeps, the first thing I do is I look for my phone. I'm guilty of it too. Like, it is a distraction. And when you have stuff like this in your car as well, it's going to be a distraction too, because if you're able to use swipe gestures, it means you have to take your hands off the steering wheel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And at any point, you have to take your eyes off of the road. I mean, to look down at your 7-inch screen.
Yeah.
Or while you're doing something, it's very dangerous.
Yeah. And it's amazing how quick something can happen in a car.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, a split second. I mean, especially if it's bad weather out. Like when I was in Montana and it was, it's snow all over the place, of course. But what happens is it snows and then it warms up. So the snow will start to melt, then it freezes, then it snows again. And then so you have layers of ice and snow and ice and snow.
Yeah.
And, it's slippery for one. And if you're not paying attention, I mean, a split second, it happened to me. I hit a rut in the road. I was doing maybe 10 or 15 miles an hour, just creeping along. And I hit a rut, and in a split second, I was turned around 180 degrees, just bam, right on the road.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's scary. Things happen so fast, and I'm guilty of it too. And, I'm one of those people that I feel like I can multitask very well. But if I'm doing like 3 different things while I'm driving, I'm going to get in a wreck.
Yeah, yeah. And it is, as I said, it only takes a second for a clown like today. If I hadn't been paying attention today, I would have gone up the back of the van in front of me because they
Mm.
slowed. They basically came to a stop because this guy was on the phone, wasn't aware of his surroundings, and didn't pull out into the other lane to allow the traffic into it. So
Yeah.
and that's the thing about it. You can be the most careful driver in the world to it, but you can't legislate for other people.
Mm-mm. No.
But
Now,
hon-
is that a law over there where you have to merge to let people in?
it is when you're coming onto a dual carriageway or a motorway, say a multi-lane, and then you have a feeder lane that's coming off, say, a secondary road.
Yeah. Hmm.
We drive on the left-hand side over here, so we would be feeding in from the left-hand side. So you have your standard lane on the dual carriageway, and then you have your overtaken lane to the right of it.
Hmm.
Now, technically, you're not supposed to drive in the overtaken lane unless you're actually overtaken. But you have these
Hmm.
feeder lanes that come in from the left-hand side. And in order to stop traffic congestion, you are obliged to move into the overtaken lane if it's safe. If there's a car coming
Yeah.
to you and you can't, you obviously can't. But you're
Right.
obliged to move into the overtaken lane to allow the traffic from that filter lane to move in. That is a law, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, I see here. It's not a law, but it's common sense that you're supposed to let somebody merge, and that's what 99% of traffic is here. Is because people don't know how to merge.
Yeah,
They'll shoot all the way to the front of the line and try and beat everybody, and in doing that, they slow everyone behind them down.
yeah, yeah.
Drives me nuts. I saw a girl. We're talking about people with phones, and I was going to work the other day, and people were turning in front of me, and I was about to go straight through the intersection, and I just waited a second because I saw a girl, and I was like, she's going to turn, because I saw her with a cell phone, and she started to turn in front of me and then stopped, and then I realized she's on a phone, but she's also smoking, so she flicks her cigarette out, and she's got the phone, and then she looks up into her mirror, and she's putting on lipstick.
You are kidding.
I wish I was kidding. I wish I could have gotten a picture of it. I mean, I was in the middle of the intersection just looking at her like, are you serious?
Jesus.
Unbelievable. Take 5 extra minutes and put your makeup on at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Do you know, look at it. Not going to get into road safety and all of that now, but it's
Right.
amazing the amount of people that you don't even realize on the road that are putting you at risk because of their stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think more technology in a car is a bad thing because
Yeah,
it's
I
just
mean,
another
yeah.
distraction.
If they put a lot more technology in it to make it safe, like they talk about some of these apps and stuff that you can get it with collision detection and accident detection, and just pay attention and drive.
Exactly.
I've seen all that stuff in new cars, and now they were smart in this one to put the Honda Link in the 2014 Honda Civic because those Civics sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Those cars they're cheap. They're really cheap for fixing. Maintenance is extremely cheap on those, and upgrades are really cheap on those. So
Yeah, and they could be
that's gonna be,
modified.
yeah.
You know, the boy racers can modify them.
Yep. Oh yeah. I had that phase in my life. Yeah.
I think we all went
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
But Honda are launching a new set of apps as well for the iPhone 5, the 5S, and the 5C.
Mm.
They connect directly to Link screen and the in-car user interface. But first up is a launcher app, and it'll act as a bridge between the third-party apps on the phone and the Link. And the pickings appear to be a bit slim at launch, but Honda highlighted only Pandora and Sirius XM radio as at its media event. But the automaker said it plans to bring more apps online from select developer partners. Unlike GM and Ford, Honda hasn't opened up its developer program, so it's all in-house for the time being. But as I said, it's I wouldn't be a fan of those type of technologies, you know. Plus,
Yeah.
you're going to look like a right idiot making gestures to nobody in a car if somebody's passing by, you know. But there was another one actually. This one came out today, and this is about this. I knew about the NSA tracking stuff, but I didn't realize that they were doing it on such a big scale. This was breaking news today in the Washington Post that the NSA tracking cell phone locations worldwide. That they're gathering nearly 5 billion records a day on the whereabouts of cell phones around the world. And these are according to top secret documents and interviews with US intelligence officials, enabling the agency to track the movements of individuals and map their relationships in ways that wouldn't have been previously imaginable. That's, that's
Wow.
scary.
That is scary. So it could tell if I go to Fred Meyer and then I run into somebody I know. they'll know that I was at their same place as them at 2:45 p.m. And they, eventually, especially if you're a scheduled person, or you have a way of doing things, like every day you get up, you go to work at 8 a.m., you come home at 2, they're gonna know everywhere you go and when you go.
Yeah.
And they already do, I should say, but I'm not
That's it.
shocked.
I was shocked at the volume of it. You hear 5 billion a day. 5
Yeah, I
billion
mean,
records a day seems a lot.
that's got to be in a big database, just a
Yeah.
big old fat database.
It's a bit of a strange one. It said that the NSA does not target Americans' location data by design, but the agency acquires a substantial amount of information on the whereabouts of domestic cell phones incidentally, a legal term that connotes a foreseeable but not deliberate result. It said one senior collection manager, speaking on condition of anonymity, but with the permission from the NSA, said, "We're getting vast volumes of location data from around the world by tapping into cables that connect mobile phone networks globally, and that serve US cell phones as well as foreign ones. And additionally, data is often collected from the tens of millions of Americans who travel abroad with their cell phones every year." I have a little audio clip just kind of talking about kind of the key features in it. I'm going to play it.
Cell phones broadcast locations even when they're not being used to place a call or send a text. Based on new documents, the Washington Post has learned that the NSA is collecting billions of records a day to track the location of mobile phone users around the world. Your cell phone emits signals to nearby cell phone towers wherever you are in the world. And most of the world is covered with these towers, which can reveal your location even if you have your phone's GPS turned off. The NSA says it's not interested in everyone's data and does not intentionally collect U.S. location information in bulk, but it collects as broadly as possible under its international authority, and a lot of U.S. persons' locations are captured incidentally in order to find people with hidden links to a person of interest or a target. Using its vast location databases, the NSA applies sophisticated analytics techniques to identify what it calls co-travelers, unknown associates who might be traveling with or meeting up with a known target. As a mobile phone's wireless signals pass between multiple cell phone towers, the device's location is collected and analyzed by the NSA. Say a target is moving through a crowded city with lots of foot traffic. Potential co-travelers will be ones that appear alongside a target through multiple cell phone tower areas. This system can also be used to track intersections with the target's path, or if a co-traveler arrives in identical locations as a target. Just as with emails and phone records, the NSA is collecting location data, and on a massive scale. Documents indicate nearly 5 billion cell phone records are collected globally per day.
So now that's pretty scary figures in terms of 5 billion records a day.
Yeah.
But they're saying that the NSA has no reason to suspect that the movements of the overwhelming majority of cell phone users would be relevant to national security. I think that's a moot point. I think the fact that they still have data on you, or that kind of data on you, means that they can go back in at any point. And I'm sure it wouldn't be too big of a stretch of the imagination to run a query on a database to see a particular person's movements over a certain period of time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like they say, still location data, especially when aggregated over time, is widely regarded among privacy advocates as uniquely sensitive. Sophisticated mathematical techniques enable NSA analysts to map cell phone owners' relationships by correlating their patterns of movement over time with thousands or millions of other phone users who cross their paths. So cell phones broadcast their locations even when they're not being used to place a call or send a text.
Yeah, exactly.
It's creepy.
Yeah, that's for sure. And to think that there's a possibility that even I'm being tracked over here.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, we're doing it outside of the U.S., and a lot of people are not happy about that.
Yeah. Now look, they don't have a lot to track on me because my phone is in the one spot here beside me most of the time anyway, so, But
Yeah.
speaking of phones, there's a new phone came on the market today, and it's called the Yota phone. And it's a dual screen smartphone that has both phones always on. A unique smartphone with two screens has been launched by a Russian tech company. The Yota phone has two full-size screens, one of which uses the e-ink style of display familiar from e-readers. It's designed to be always on. The smartphone lets users see information on their devices constantly without having to wake up their phone. The idea is that you can browse to a map on Google Maps as normal, put your phone to sleep, and then follow the 4.3-inch e-ink version of the map on the other side. I don't see the appeal to it.
I think about this, and it's funny. I was talking to Jason today about some of these stories, and he's playing devil's advocate. It's funny. As soon as I mention something like this, and I'm like, oh, that might be kind of cool. He tells me why it wouldn't be, and it just cracks me up because he's such a good thinker that way. And like he was talking about is if I have a phone in my pocket and it's constantly going to be on, glowing, the screen's going to be on. He said, now if I put my phone down on my desk here at work, I don't want people to come in and be able to read what's on my screen.
Exactly.
You know, if I have text messages or something personal on there, I don't want people to go and look at my screen. So now you have to have a lock screen, which defeats the purpose entirely of having two screens. So why not just do what you were doing before? I don't know. I mean, the appeal of it and the way they make it sounds really great. Being able to, go to a map on one and then, lock your phone and just use the map on the back side of it. But I don't know. Two screens, one screen.
How often are you going to use two screens?
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, for the price of it, I don't know. This one's I think they're talking 500 euros.
500 euros, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if it would be worth that much or not having two screens. I mean, the few times that you do use both screens like that, I don't know if it warrants $500.
No. Well, if you look at that in line with I priced a new phone the last day because I'm due an upgrade in June of next year. And on my package, I'm entitled to be subsidized a certain amount towards a phone. So I was looking at the S4, and the retail price for that phone over here is 550 euros. So it's almost on a par price-wise with this new phone. Now, the other option or the other problem that I see with this phone is that you're going to have battery issues.
Yeah.
If you have a phone with a screen that's always on, it stands to reason that it's going to run down your battery.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were saying in this story too, because they use the e-ink version of the screens, that it would draw less. Because Kindles, the very first Kindle that ever came out, I remember it's always on. A Kindle is always on, and the screen just kind of goes gray, and nothing shows up on it on the screen. But I don't know how this would work if you have two of them constantly going.
Yeah. Well, I know my phone, I don't get a full 24 hours out of the battery, and I never have. Even from day one, I've never gotten a full 24 hours. So by adding a second screen to it, it would probably cut my usage down that, I potentially could cut it down by another hour or so, which means I have to be near a charger. And depending on what way I charge it too, it's funny how it works out that if I charge it direct mains, I get a better charge than if I plug it into my PC via the USB port. It doesn't seem to hold the charge as long.
There was a Kickstarter a long time ago that we may have talked about on the show, and it was a little device that would actually test where it would be best to plug your phone in. So you could plug this thing into the outlet in the wall, and it would tell you how quickly your phone will charge there, or you can plug it into your computer, and it'll show how long it'll charge to there. So you can figure out which one's going to charge your phone the best. Or fastest, I should say, not best.
Yeah, well, I think you plug it into the wall receptacle, it's going to charge a lot faster. I don't know whether it's the low voltage from the USB power supply or what. It doesn't seem to. I know it takes a lot longer to charge as well, but it doesn't seem to hold the charge for nearly as long.
Interesting.
Yeah, bit of a strange one. Anyways, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, this is John from LiveSpeak Radio. Radio advertising has always been one of the best mediums for businesses to reach their target audience. And with the success of internet radio, it's reached a whole new level. Internet radio is the most cost-effective way to reach a wider audience. And at LiveSpeak Radio, we have a global audience. That means that we can offer the ideal platform for your business to advertise. To advertise on LiveSpeak Radio, get in touch with us today through our website at livespeakradio.com or send us an email to marketing@livespeakradio.com.
And welcome back to Diet LiveSpeak, everybody. As I said already, we're broadcasting on iHeartRadio.com via our website at livespeakradio.com. and through Spreaker.com. And you can go back and you can listen to any of our back episodes via the website at LiveSpeakRadio.com. So we're going to move on to some of the WTF news stories. And the first up is, it was actually, I found both of these stories today, and both of them are pretty strange. But the first one, I don't know if you've seen this or not, Justin. I think I sent you the link today via Facebook when I actually came across it. I thought it was quite funny. But where the goat was brought as a witness into court.
A goat.
A goat, yes. It wasn't you by any chance, was it?
No, that wasn't me. Sorry.
This guy was jailed for bestiality, and they brought the victim, which was a goat, into court. So the man was found guilty of having relations with a goat and was forced to come face to face with his victim after the animal was brought into court as a witness.
Oh man, that's bad. Bad. Oh yeah, that was me.
His name is, I think this is his name. I take it as it shouldn't be the goat's name anyway. Katana Kitseo Gona. There's one hell of a mouthful. A 28-year-old has been jailed for 10 years after admitting sexually abusing the animal in a Kenyan town of Malindi. The nanny goat, which was presented to the magistrate, according to the Sun newspaper in the UK, showed little emotion as she watched from the corner of the courtroom as her attacker was jailed.
Wow.
I've never really seen an emotional goat, so I don't know how you I don't know how you would quantify that. But it said the court heard that Gona was caught when a local resident found him naked in a field, basically having fun with the grazing goat, which was tied up at the time. The goat's owner was alerted and arrived at the scene with other residents who also witnessed the sordid scene. What I can't get my head around about that story is he was caught, but he continued to do it and was obviously still at it when other residents came by.
Heck yeah, man. Tied that, probably took an hour to tie up that thing. Got to get it done. Unbelievable.
That is just a really, really strange one. They said he was arrested by police and a medical examination confirmed the abuse had taken place. So they obviously, they must have examined the goat as well to determine.
So they violated the goat twice.
Yeah.
One time, and then they had to violate it a second time to do the tests. Okay, fantastic.
But how he tried to justify his actions was he told the court his wife is disabled and depends on him. And that was an excuse for trying to get out of it as well, to say that he had to basically, he couldn't go to jail because he had to look after his wife. But he was still jailed. And they said the Kenyan media said it was rare for animals to be presented as evidence in court cases.
You think? You think? Now here's how I feel about that. Okay, if I walk and I see a guy that has tied up a goat and he's going at it, I'm not going to call the police. I'm not. Me personally, it's like, dude, okay, you have problems. I'm going to let you be because I'm not putting you in jail and spending my money for you doing something sick like that.
Yeah.
I could take pictures. I might blackmail you, but yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. I think I'd be so shocked if I seen something like that I'd probably be just dumbfounded. I'd probably just walk on shaking my head.
I think it would be one of those, like, I wouldn't walk on. I'd probably be like, wait a minute. Is that what I think it is? And I'd walk closer probably. I'd probably walk right up and go, oh, yeah, you are doing that. Okay, I got to go over here. Gosh, I mean, we don't have much going on over there in Kenya, so.
That's true. But it said it was in the middle of a town, too.
Adds to the fun of it, right?
Yeah. I don't know, whatever they're into. But the second story we have is kind of another farming-related story. And it said that a Romanian Farmville gang conned £400,000 from the government with fake farms.
What?
A gang of Farmville fans in Romania who conned their way to more than £400,000 in subsidies for fake farms is suing the government after payments were stopped. Yeah. Inspired by the online game, the 8 men claimed to have 1,860 cows and received about £100 per animal over 3 years. The group said that they weren't told the farms had to be real when they applied and are taking the case to court.
Oh my gosh.
You know something? It's the type of case too that they'll probably win because I'm sure it's probably not in the small print that the animals actually can't be fictitious.
Right. Yeah, there's probably a loophole that they will win this. And I hope they do.
I'm going to try and see if I can follow that story. But it said that
Yeah.
Farmville has also caused financial problems for other gamers, as one obsessed 12-year-old boy spent £900 playing the popular Facebook game. And over the last year, Farmville has dipped in popularity, but still remains one of the top 10 games played on Facebook behind Candy Crush. I'd say that's probably the main reason it's dropped in popularity, is because of the fact that Candy Crush is so popular, you know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Candy Crush is crazy.
But that's it for this week's show. Be sure to tune into the live show on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific time on iHeartRadio.com, LiveSpeakRadio.com, and via Spreaker.com. Thanks to my guest, Justin, for helping me out this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have Johnny Georges from Shark Tank on the show this Sunday too. So, good show.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, Justin. And thanks for helping me out.
Absolutely.
I probably would have had a lot shorter show if you weren't on.
I have that effect.
So we'll talk to everybody again on Sunday. Thanks for listening.